Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today's video I'm going to review a new DeWalt 5-inch variable speed orbital sander that I bought. I actually didn't get this off of Amazon, believe it or not. I found a little bit better price off of eBay. So I got this for some upcoming projects that I got coming on, along with some projects I need to do for the house painting series that I'm doing. So I thought this would be a good time to review this in action and kind of see what I think and kind of let you know what I think and see if it was worth it. And by the way, this isn't sponsored by DeWalt or anybody. I just buy DeWalt tools because I really like them. So what I got here was the tool only. It's the DW210B. Tool only, no batteries. It goes with the 20-volt battery series, and if you remember back in a video I did about 20 volt versus the 18 volt, I bought some 2 amp and 5 amp hour batteries, and so I didn't really need to buy more batteries with this. So let's open it up and see what we got going. Alright, so let's open up the box here. Got the little dust collector. We'll see how well that works. Sander itself comes with a hook and loop type system. Battery goes on here. It's brushless. Here's your variable speed right there. Of course, your dust port fits on here. A little twisting action on. We'll see how well it works. Most importantly, here's the directions. Should we read through those? Yeah, I guess I'll read through them real quick and then we'll get on with the video of how well it does. Alright, so here's the sander itself. Battery goes here. Weight wise, without a battery, not too bad. Control, pretty ergonomic as far as being able to finger controls. The bag, nice attachment. It just goes on, twist and hooked. You can also hook this up to your shop vac, which I've already tried over there, and I've got a little adapter, and yes, it'll hook right up. Batteries. Now I've got these 2 amp hour and this 5 amp hour. You can see there's quite a big difference in the size. I put the 2 amp on there. Weight wise, I mean, it adds a little weight, yeah, not bad. But this 5 amp battery, that does make it a little heavy. Might have to wind up using it like this because it's so heavy. But otherwise, it doesn't start to spin until you put pressure on it. You see, the holes aren't really moving. So the 20 amp or the 5 amp hour does add a little bit of weight to it. So probably use the 2 amp hour just because of that. Sanding discs. Now I got these Diablo multi-pack. I actually got these at Home Depot. They were on sale. It's kind of a nice deal. This 50 disc pack was only 20 bucks. And it comes in 80, 120, 180, 220, and 400. There's 10 of each. Now this particular pack comes with no holes in it like you see here, and these holes are going to be mainly for the dust port collection system. But what I noticed is, and I'll show you here with these pads, it comes with a attachment pad, is even this 80 grit you can see through, so it'll probably still work for the dust collection. The other thing I noticed is this particular one is the 80 grit. If you can see that. This actually has some thickness to it. When you get down to the 400 grit, man, it is like paper. So for what I'm going to do, I'm going to try it out here on this side trim board of the garage. I'm going to use the 80 grits, and we're going to give it a go with the 2 amp hour battery and see how it works. So what you do is is you just line up. I mean, these are real easy. You can just slap them on any old way. But me being me, I'm going to try and make it as perfect as possible on there. There, all set. Just so you know, battery's fully charged. Plugged in. We're just going to sand this surface here while it's kind of smooth. It does have some roughness, so I'm going to see, and I got some peeling paint. As you can see, I haven't gotten it primered yet, so I've got a little, look like mold growing in there. So I'm going to sand on this, and we'll see how well it does. See what we got in our bag here. Yeah, got some paint dust in there. It's taking it off. I guess it's not doing it as aggressive as I thought it would for an 80 grit. Kind of figured it'd strip the living crap out of this. But I do have it turned up all the way, so let's give it a little more. Granted, I'm not pushing real hard. I'm kind of just trying to let the tool do the work. I'll tell you one nice thing is this, the edge of this matches with the edge of this. So when I go to get right up here against the edge, I can, because it doesn't. This doesn't hit first. The hit, actually, the pad itself hits first before this does. So it's really nice. I can get right up here to the edge. Now, of course, I can't get right in there because of it being around, but I mean, it seems to be doing a pretty good job. One thing I did kind of notice, it's the first time using this, so I didn't know, is that if you kind of push on the leading edge versus being flat, you can get a little more aggressive of a sand than if you just have it flat and let it work. So let's do a little bit more and see how we do. You have to be careful when you do that leading edge, that you don't do it too much because you'll cause a divot. For this piece of wood here, I'm just doing it flat. I have to say it's doing a really good job. My goal wasn't to strip all the paint off, but considering how easy it is to do, I'm doing it. Really. Much nicer than the square vibrating sander I used to do it the first time. Another thing I didn't tell you is with these pads here, I can just take them out, rinse them off with some water dry, and use again when they get clogged. But for 80 grit, yeah, it's rough as far as the texture, but I mean, it took it right off. So far, I'm really liking this. I mean, it's getting with it. I mean, that's pretty smooth. I mean, I'm just grinding, trying to take all the paint off, but it's doing a really good job. And like along this edge here, it got in there really well. Now, I don't want to do along here too much because my caulking that I put in is soft and I don't want it gouging it out. But for the edges, I mean, I can tell a definite difference between here and down here. It's really getting with it. Now, with this 2 amp hour battery on here, you know, doing this vertical surface like this, it's not too bad as far as weight and fatigue on your arm. So, I mean, it's really quite nice. Now I'm going to go get the 5 amp on here and see how much more it adds to it. You can see there's quite a bit of dust being kicked up because of this paint. But so far I'm really liking this. That 5 amp hour battery sounds like it's got a little more oomph. Maybe heavier, but I think it works a little faster. It does seem like it's got a little more oomph with that 5 amp. Let's see what it does on this narrow piece. Makes pretty quick work of that. I would say this was a really good buy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test this on some vertical stuff, maybe even right here with this 5 amp, and see how much fatigue we got. But on this vertical surface, it's not bad. I mean, the weight of it kind of drags it down. It's not too bad. So it'd be interesting to see when I do it on a horizontal surface, extra that weight of that battery, how it does. But I'm going to do a little comparison here of that 2 amp and the 5 amp hour battery, and I think you're going to see that there's quite a bit of more oomph to it with this 5 amp. I'm going to leave it all the way up on 7 on both of them and see and kind of do a noise comparison, if you will, of the power. I will say, because all this paint, boy, it just goes everywhere. Dust collection is probably not as great as it could be, but granted, I'm relying on gravity feed versus if I had a shop vac to it, which is what I may do if I keep going with this, is use a shop vac and see how well it works. Let's put the 2 amp hour battery in. Turn it on. 5 amp hour. Sounds like it's got a little more oomph to me. So I'm going to stay with the 5 amp for right now. All right, next we'll hook up the shop vac to it and see what it does for all this dust. All right, so we're going to try it back here on the top of the patio and sand some of this a little more. You saw the struggles I was having around with the front with the dust collection system staying on. So what I did was I have this little adapter that I put into the sander itself, and I just took some wire and wired it on so it won't move. And then I'll take the sander itself and it'll fit in here, and I can jam it in there pretty tight and it'll stay real well. And then I can sand. So far, I'm liking this really well. The only thing I'm finding a little difficult is when you're doing it upside down, you got to make sure you keep this flat. If you're off by a little bit, it doesn't work very well. Next thing you know, you're only sanding here, and you're going to sand some gouges. So you really got to make sure you stay flat. Also, I haven't been very good at it, but I'm going to put on the face mask and some goggles so I don't get what dust doesn't get collected in this in my face. So we'll get started on this. So with the vacuum cleaner hooked up, or I should say the shop vac hooked up to it, you still get a fair amount of dust. Remember, the paper I have doesn't have the holes in it so I can suck but this stuff is see-through. If I take it off, you can see through it. So it does get some of the dust, or I should say quite a bit of it, because I opened this up after doing the the trim around the garage up there, and there's quite a bit of dust in there, so it does a fairly good job. So the hardest part is when you're doing sanding upside down is keeping it flat and level. It's easy to get it tipped, especially when I got this hanging off of it. That's why you'd see me holding it like this to keep it flat. And you can get up pretty close, and if you have this position just right, you can tilt it and get right up to the edge much better than I could with any other sanders that I used. Downside, doing it up top like this, but if you're going to do flat work, which most of you are probably going to, it's going to work well. Downside is I'd say get a 5 amp battery or higher. These 2 amps, it goes through them pretty quick, whereas the 5 amp lasts quite a while. Bad side of that is the 5 amp weighs more than the 2 amp, but if you're doing flat work or even vertical work, it's not too bad. It's when you have to go upside down, which is probably not really engineered to do that, but that's what I'm using it for. The bag that comes with it, the collection bag, worked pretty well. I had quite a bit of sawdust in it when I was sanding. It's just that I felt that the vacuum cleaner did a better job since I didn't have holes in the pad for it to suction through. So overall rating, I give it at least a 4. On price, I gave it a 5 because I got it better than what you could have off of Amazon. I got it on eBay because I got the sander and the dust collector only. I didn't get any batteries or anything with it, but I got it for 93 bucks. That's the cheapest I found anywhere. Even a special on at Lowe's or Home Depot, the best I did was 99. Amazon again was the best I could do was 99. So overall, I think it's a really good sander. I think it was a good buy, and I will use it quite a bit. Now the variable speed, I've mainly used it on 7. I haven't used it at the lower speeds because, well, I'm too impatient to do it at a slower speed. But with what I'm sanding, it didn't matter. I'm sure if you get into some of your finer stuff like MDF and things like that, you're going to use a lower speed, and it is nice to have that adjustable speed. The other nice thing is when the battery goes dead, it shuts it off. So when you put a new battery back on, it doesn't turn back on. And I will tell you, you have no idea when it's done. You're sanding and then you're not. So when it uses the battery up, it's done. There's no, like the nickel cadmiums, you'll kind of, these are done. So that's kind of nice to know that when you're done, you're done. But overall, for the price of this, I feel it was a really good buy. Now you can get it with a bag and a charger and another battery, but I didn't need that. So like I said, I got this one off of eBay versus Amazon or Home Depot. The best I could find as far as a deal on any of those was $99 for this. So I was able to get it for 93 bucks. This video is not sponsored by anybody, so it doesn't matter to me where I buy it from or where you buy it from. So like I say, go back to the old eBay and see if you can't find it there a little cheaper. If you like this type of video, hit the thumbs up down below and hit subscribe so you'll be notified when the next video comes out, and we'll see you on the next one.